Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcoming you to Friday night services, Bethel Congregation in Baltimore, those joining us here in the Berman Rubin Sanctuary. Also welcoming those joining us online for services tonight. Shabbat Shalom, Kabbalat Shabbat services and calling pages from Sidur Chadash, beginning on page 12 with Yedid Nefesh. Turning to page 22. Page 24, 25.
Satru vagoyim levodo
97th Psalm, page 26. Page 28.
Zameru l'Adonai bechinor vekol zimra. Zameru l'Adonai bechinor vekol zimra. Zameru l'Adonai bechinor vekol zimra. Zameru l'Adonai bechinor vekol zimra.
Page 30, Romamo. Page 34, Psalm 29.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom, Cantor Blatt. Building a musical bridge from Kabbalat Shabbat to Ma'ariv and beginning with song.
We're going to turn in the back of the Siddurim to Yom Zeh Yisrael. This is the day of Israel, the Shabbat, page 823. Yom Zeh Yisrael ora v'simcha, Shabbat, Shabbat, Shabbat menucha. Yom Zeh Yisrael ora v'simcha, Shabbat, Shabbat, Shabbat menucha. Zivit pekudim b'ma'amad har Sinai, Shabbat u'moadim lishmor bechol shanai, la'arok lefanai maseh arucha. Shabbat, Shabbat menucha. Yom Zeh Yisrael ora v'simcha, Shabbat, Shabbat, Shabbat menucha. Yom Zeh Yisrael ora v'simcha, Shabbat, Shabbat, Shabbat menucha. Emdat elvavot le'uma shevura, nefashot nechavot neshama yitera, min nefesh yitzera yasir anacha. Shabbat, Shabbat menucha. Yom Zeh Yisrael ora v'simcha, Shabbat, Shabbat, Shabbat menucha. Yom Zeh Yisrael ora v'simcha, Shabbat, Shabbat, Shabbat menucha.
Pause at this time to remember with reverence yard sites of our beloved departed observed until sundown this evening, 24th day of Adar Rishon. Dr. Philip M. Aronson, Esther Sylvia Cohen, Nedka Kalinov Cantor, Dorothy Rosenthal Latin, Benjamin Levin, and Morris H. Mishner. Zecher Tzadik Livracha. May their righteous memories continue to bring blessing into all of our lives, saying together, Amen. Solemn testimony to that unbroken chain of faith that links us generation to generation, Lador Vador. Those in mourning, those observing yard site, please rise. Mourner's Kaddish, page 124. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala u'v'zman kari v'imru. Amen.
Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach leolam u'lalmei almayah.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudsha
Borichu.
Leila minkol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran b'alma v'imru. Amen.
Amen.
Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen.
Amen.
Oseh shalom v'imuma v'ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen.
Amen.
May be seated, turning back in our prayer books to page 38, and we'll join singing together Lecha Dodi.
Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פן שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פן שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה. סוף מעשה במחשבה תהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פן שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פן שבת נקבלה.
Rising together on page 40, concluding stanza.
בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה וצהלה, תוך אמונה עם סגולה. בואי כלה, בואי כלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פן שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פן שבת נקבלה.
Pause at this time to offer condolences of the congregation to members of our community who have been bereaved during the past week. This week to the family of the late Stephen Richard Brody, to the family of the late Selma Kimmelman Eisenstadt, to the family of the late Paula Glick, to the family of the late Eileen Levine, to the family of the late Saul Marks, and to the family of the late Jay Schwartz. Bottom of page 41, joining together, traditional Friday evening greeting for mourners. Hamakom yenachem etchem betoch sha'ar avelei Tzion v'Yerushalayim. May the Holy One who comforts Israel grant you solace in your bereavement. And we'll remain standing, turning together for the Baruch Hu, page 50. May be seated. On page 51, I'll invite Dara Brown up to lead us in an English responsive reading. Page 51. That's not on.
Okay. O Lord, Your word brings on the evening twilight. The heavens proclaim your glory.
And we, your creatures on earth, behold in wonder your endless miracles.
Help us to recognize your guiding power in distant galaxies and in our own souls.
Teach us your law of righteousness and love, so that your Spirit may govern our lives.
Source of peace, bless our worship. May our meditations find favor in your sight.
May our gratitude for your wonders lead us in love to your service.
So that, like the changing seasons, the days and the nights, our lives too will proclaim your glory.
Amen.
Amen.
ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב על אביב. אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך אהבת, תורה ומצוות חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו באורך ימינו ובהם נגה יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני
V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha. V'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha. V'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam. Shiftecha b'veitecha u'vlechtecha v'derech u'v'shochbecha u'v'kumecha. U'kshartam la'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot beinenecha, uchtabtam al mezuzot beitecha, u'bisharecha. May be seated, continuing with the Shema's second paragraph, page 56, 57.
והיה אם שמוע תשמעו למצוותיי.
And on page 57, middle of the page, reading together. Therefore, keep these words of mine in your heart and in your soul. Bind them as a sign upon your arm. Let them be a reminder above your eyes. Teach them to your children, speaking of them when you are at home and when you are away, when you lie down at night and when you rise up in the morning. Write them upon the doorposts of your homes and upon your gates. Thus your days and the days of your children will be multiplied on the land, which the Lord promised to your ancestors for as long as the heavens remain over the earth. Page 58, 59.
ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור דבר בני ישראל Adonai Elohechem emet.
On page 60, toward the middle of that page.
ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם משה ובני ישראל לכאן ושירה בשמחה רבה ויאמרו כולם מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדע בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. מלכותך ובניך, בוקע ים לפני משה. זה עליינו ויאמרו, זה עליינו ויאמרו. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Turning to page 63, again continuing with responsive reading, and will be led by Bev Lyons.
Help us, O God, to lie down in peace, but teach us that peace means more than quiet.
Remind us that if we are to be at peace at night, we must take heed how we live by day.
Grant us the peace that comes from honest dealing, so that no fear of discovery will haunt our sleep.
Rid us of resentments and hatreds which rob us of the peace we crave.
Liberate us from enslaving habits which disturb us and give us no rest.
May we inflict no pain, bring no shame, and seek no profit from another's loss.
May we so live that we can face the world with serenity and with grace.
May we feel no remorse at night for what we have done during the day.
May we lie down in peace tonight and awaken tomorrow to a richer and fuller life.
Amen.
Amen.
ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ולשלום מעתה ועד עולם ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך Baruch atah Adonai, hapore sukat shalom, aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael, hapore sukat shalom, aleinu ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ועלמא דברה קלותי וימליך מלכותי, וחייקון וביומכון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. יהי רבם מבורך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי לקודשה בריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה. תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמא, ויאמרו Amen.
Rising together, evening Amidah for Shabbos begins page 69, recited quietly. Quiet prayer beginning page 69.
שלום רב על ישראל עמך ועל כל יושבי תבל. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. שלום רב על ישראל עמך ועל כל יושבי תבל. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. וטוב בעיניך לברך את ישראל, בכל עת ובכל שעה, בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, ועל כל יושבי תבל. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם, תשים לעולם, תשים לעולם.
May be seated, continuing our service on page 80.
La 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 la. ויקולו השמיים והארץ וכותבם, ויקל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישבות ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. La 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 la. כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק, ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל, ואלוהי לאה. האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל העליון, קונה שמיים מגן אבות בדברו, מקיים מתים במאמרו. האל הקדוש שאין כמוהו, המניח לעמו ביום שבת קודשו. כי בם רצה להניח להם, כי בם רצה להניח להם, לפניו נעבוד ביראה ופחד, ונודה לשמו בכל יום תמיד בין הברקות. אל ההודעות אדון השלום, מקדש השבת ומברך שביעי, ומניח בקדושה לעמדו שני עונג, זכר למעשה בראשית. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי הדבר, תלמד יבדק אלוהי וימליק מלכותי בחיי כלנו בימי כלנו בחיי כל בישראל, עגלה בזמן קריב וימרו, אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתברך וישמע ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי לקודשה, ולכולי מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, ושפקתה ונקמתה, דמירן בעלמה ואימרו, אמן. תתקבל תלותון ובעתון לכל ישראל, קדם ובהון משמיים ואימרו, אמן. יהי שלמה רבה משמיים וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואימרו, אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום. עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואימרו, amen.
Samantha Brown, tomorrow morning, celebrates her bat mitzvah, comes forward to lead the congregation in the Friday night Kiddush. Text of the Kiddush is on page 90. Let's rise together.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodsho b'yachava uvratzon hinhi lanu zikaron l'maaseh b'reishit ki hu yom tehila l'mikrae kodesh zecher l'tziat mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta v'otanu kidashta mikol hamim b'shabbat kodshecha b'ahava uvratzon hin haltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat.
May be seated.
Shabbat Shalom. Samantha Yasher Koach, Mazal Tov, and Mazal Tov to your whole family. Wonderful Simcha this Shabbos, and it's good to be with all of you in the sanctuary. And it's wonderful to see our numbers in appearance here growing. I know there's folks out there online as well. So good Shabbos to everyone. And we're reading now. We're nearing the end of the book of Exodus in our Torah readings, and what we're doing at the end of the book of Exodus is we're finishing up this huge project of building the tabernacle, the first shul, really, the first synagogue, and it's a momentous moment. It's very exciting, and one of the things that we know is that as we're building this tabernacle, we've had a few things happen right before it. One of them is we've received the 10 Commandments, and we've also had the episode of the golden calf. And so the 10 Commandments tell us, don't have any graven images, right? That's one of the big ones. Don't have any images of God, any graven images. Fine, we understand that. And then we had the episode of the golden calf, where we sort of lost our way. We built a golden statue of a calf and called it a god, or worshipped it, or bowed to it. And then we were punished for that. So by the time we get out of the tabernacle, one would think that we were done with the whole graven image, golden statue, this whole issue that we've had two big reminders not to do it. And yet, if you were an Israelite in ancient times, and you walked into the tabernacle after it was built, and you went into the center of the tabernacle where the Aron HaKodesh, the ark was kept, the ark that has the 10 Commandments in it, you would see that out of the lid of that ark were sprouting two golden statues. And they are these statues that they rise right out of the lid, looking at each other. And just before we get to why they're there, I want to describe them a little bit. So they're called the Kruvim, or as some people would call them, the cherubim, right? And we're not quite sure what they are. From the Torah, all we know is that there's some kind of statue that sits on the top that have wings. But the rabbis of the Talmud began to really explore this more, and we know from also just records of what later became the Kruvim in the temple, that these statues, you got to picture this, the body was of some kind of animal, like probably a bull of some kind. So you're rising out of the lid is the body of a bull, but it's got the wings of a bird, and the wings they're kind of arched up and pointing, and then because there's two on each side, the wings are pointing at each other and making kind of like a sukkah, or like a shelter above the ark. And this is fascinating, the face of each of these kruvim, the face is the face of a child, we're told. So you got to picture this again. Body of an animal, wings of a bird, face of a child. The question that I had when I was looking at this and reading this is, why is this okay? I mean, honestly, we've just been told, don't have any graven images. We've just gotten in trouble for making a statue of a calf. Remember, these kruvim have the bodies of a bull. That's not that far away. Okay? And they've also got the wings, and that's kind of angelic. That sounds a little graven to me. Why is this okay? So I want to talk for a little bit about the symbolism here and compare it for a moment with what we did when we made the golden calf. Now, we know the golden calf, that's pretty simple. It's a statue of a calf. You bring a bunch of gold together, you melt it down, you get yourself a calf, and the Israelites started to bow down to this calf. Fine. What about the symbolism of the kruvim? So one of the things we see here is if you look at the three different parts of each of these statues, of each of these kruvim, you have the animal, right? That's the body. You have the wings. That's like the angelic. That's like the divine. And then you have the face that's of human innocence, the child. And as I was thinking about that, I was thinking that, in fact, what this is a picture of is this is not a picture of a god, and this is not a picture of some graven image. This is a symbol, a sign of who we are meant to be. We are meant, obviously, to be human beings of the earth. We are made in in many ways like the beasts of the field. We have a body that in some ways resembles, as we know, we look at the chimpanzees or we look at the orangutans and go, wow, that's not that different from us, and obviously now with scientific knowledge we know, well, we might have a common ancestor way back when. But we know we have a bestial nature to us. That is part of who we are. It makes sense to have the body of a bull. But we also know that we are striving for more than that. And this is where I think we went wrong with the golden calf. The golden calf is a calf. It is a gold calf, and you look at it and you say, I know what that is, that's a calf. When you look at the kruvim, though, you say, wait a second, is it an animal? Is it an angel? I don't know. And in fact, that's exactly what we are supposed to be. We're supposed to be something in between. The body of an animal, but the wings of angels. Striving always to transcend the bestial, to get above our more animalistic natures. And then we arrive at the last part of the kruvim, the face of a child. Now, why the face of a child? It could have just been it could have had a bird's face, it could have had an adult's face. Why the face of the child? I believe, again, the Torah here is giving us a message. If we want to transcend our bestial nature, our animalistic nature, if we want to soar with the wings of angels, We have to allow ourselves the innocence of a child. We have to allow ourselves the sense of awe and wonder that children have. When we approach the Holy Ark, when we approach faith and when we approach God, we need to let go of our sense of knowing everything, our sense of being in charge, our sense of being proper adults. And we need to allow that innocence of the child to overtake us, so that when we do approach God, there's a kind of open-heartedness that we know children have. When an ancient Israelite would walk into the tabernacle, they'd look at the Kruvim, and they would see the body of an animal, the wings of an angel, and the face of a child. But if they were blessed, they could also begin to assume this themselves. They could rise up a little bit on their toes during prayer as if they had wings. They could open their eyes and smile as if they were a child in that moment. And even though their bodies all the time are claiming them down to the earth and saying, you are still an animal, you are still a beast, you still have that blood within you, that clay. Nevertheless, they would look and see these golden statues rising, 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 as if to fly. And that would be their message, that in fact, this human journey is one of rising and nearly flying. There's one other beautiful note that I want to share about the Kruvim. In the Psalms, it says, Psalm 18, that God flies upon the Kruvim. This is a wild image. Sort of, first of all, that God flies. Second of all, that God needs to fly on anything else. But third of all, the idea that God would fly upon these beast, bird, child, these strange beings. That too is a reminder to us. If we can somehow achieve, as human beings, an ability to be here of the earth and of our animal nature and yet have the wings of angels and the wonder of a child, then we are lifting God up in that moment and carrying God on our backs. Shabbat Shalom.
On page 118, Rising Together for Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות אדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגול עלינו ככל המונם. אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגביהם מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, כך כתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבת אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת עינו. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Pausing now, we'll remember with reverence the art sites of our beloved departed, observed sundown this evening till sundown tomorrow evening, 25th day of Adar 1. Beverly Dopkin, Dr. Jacob Koff, Betty G. Loveman, and Ida Zigman. Zecher Tzadik Livracha, may their righteous memories continue to bring blessing into all of our lives, saying together, Amen. Solemn testimony to that unbroken chain of faith. Those in mourning, those observing yard site, will you please rise? Text of the Mourner's Kaddish, page 124. 124. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael v'agala v'zman kari v'imru. Amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevorach la'olam u'lalmei maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shemei dekucha b'richu. Leila minkol birchata, v'shirata, tushbechata, v'nechemata, damiran bel ma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, chaim aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'imrumav, v'ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. May be seated. Schedule of services for the remainder of the weekend. Tomorrow morning, Shacharit services beginning at 10 o'clock. Tomorrow evening, Mincha, Marav, and Havdalah services at 5:45. Shacharit services here in the Berman Reuben Sanctuary. Mincha, Marav, and Havdalah online only. And as always, a reminder, Torah study at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, Shabbos morning. Torah study tomorrow morning online as well. And we'll conclude singing together.
There are those among us who still remember when conflict and war enveloped Europe. We are seeing a replay of that in our lives today. All we can do here and now is to pray that peace may somehow overcome war. That was meant to be with God our Creator, children all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my solemn vow. To take each moment and live each moment in a peace eternally. and let it begin with me. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.